Did you know that in 1864, police officers could force internal examinations on women suspected of being prostitutes without any evidence at all? This is how that happened. For the Victorians, venereal disease was not just a moral problem, it was a pragmatic one, and that is because it disproportionately affected soldiers, and they wanted healthy soldiers. And because of this, or partly because of this, in 1864, the Contagious Diseases Act was created. Basically what the act did was give police officers like these the power to stop any woman who they suspected of being a prostitute. And let me tell you, the act of prostitution is not defined. It's up to these guys to define what prostitution means. They don't need any evidence, and they can do an internal examination every 2 weeks. One of the biggest problems here is that the Victorians are not very good at defining what a prostitute is. So think about Jack the Ripper. For many of us, we grew up thinking that Jack the Ripper killed prostitutes, but now research is starting to suggest that actually many of these women weren't prostitutes. And actually the Victorians liked to label women who weren't, aristocrats or respectable, married women. They called them prostitutes. But of course, in society, there are many women who have left their husbands, or her husbands who have left them, who have children, who've fallen on hard times. And the Victorians like to often call these women prostitutes. Women found to be suffering with venereal diseases were put in locked hospitals. Now, they were called locked hospitals because they used to be leprosy hospitals, and the word lock and rag kind of made the same thing. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be great treatment. They're not going to be treated well. They have no autonomy, and there is no one to speak for them. But the problem is worse still. So we started off talking about soldiers, and we have to come back to soldiers. Now, homosexuality was a criminal offence in the Victorian period, but many of the soldiers were unmarried. So the powers that be understood that prostitution was a necessary evil. But they put all of that shame and guilt, the venereal disease, onto the women. The men were not subject to checks in the same way that women were. It would be many years before this was formally repealed, and it's just such a shame because I'm sure there are so many women who suffer because of this. Were you aware of any of this? Leave me your comments under the video, and please do check out my other long form videos on YouTube. I would always love to see you in the comments.